Hey guys, Ben here. Welcome back to another live stream. This is the DCTV show episode 80. Today we have a very special guest. I am joined today by Andy.
Hello.
So
How you
Andy is
doing?
from the Flash podcast, and also he writes the Screen Rant. So I'm sure many of you guys have read his work or listened to his work or anything like that. He does some great interviews with Eric Wallace that we all talk about, all of us YouTubers. So yeah, this is Andy. So shout out to Andy. How are you doing today, Andy? And yeah, I mean, what are you feeling about the Arrowverse right now?
I'm doing well. It's thank you for having me. Always been a huge fan of yours for all these years. We have literally, I was saying to him before we went live, we haven't seen each other since 2019 Comic Con. I mean, we tweeted each other or whatever, but we haven't actually like talked or seen each other since before everything got shut down. But the Arrowverse is definitely going through the motions and probably in all the worst ways.
Yeah, that's to say it lightly, right?
Yeah,
things are changing massively, but yeah, it's really great to talk to you, and I feel like I've talked to you because I've been watching, the Flash podcast and stuff like that, and I've been listening, so I feel like we have talked. But yeah, we basically met at we were doing interviews for Supergirl actually at San Diego Comic Con in 2019 in person, and so that was the last time that we met up. And obviously that was like the last big Comic Con for the Arrowverse because the Flash was there, Arrow had its final panel, Supergirl was there, Batwoman was there showing its pilot, So it's been a while since, all of that happened. But yeah, anyway, so welcome to everyone who is joining in to the live stream just right now. Today we're going to be talking about, obviously, the Stargirl cancellation. That is the big topic. We talk more about the CW and the future of the Arrowverse. Talk some James Gunn, and also talk some Flash towards the end and the potential return of a very exciting actor to the Arrowverse. So yeah, for now, remember, you can send in questions via Super Chat and they'll be featured on the stream. Me and Andy will both go through, we will answer them, and yeah, your support is greatly appreciated. Also, yes, if you want to become a member, click the join button down below, because on Monday, we're going to be doing another members live stream. And if you join before then, you'll be able to come join us. And all the members last month will also be able to join. So yeah, for now, let's go ahead and jump into today's main topics. First things first, actually, Flashverse sends in a 449 super sticker. Thank you very much, Flashverse, for the support. And if you didn't know, Flashverse was actually in my previous stream, and he was here in my flat in studio in person. So that was very cool, that live stream. Maybe we'll do some more in the future because he's now in the UK. So very exciting. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead, talk about Stargirl. So start sending in your questions and anything you have in super chats or in the chat, guys. So Andy, Stargirl is officially ending. Now, I was a little bit confused when I read a lot of the articles, those initial articles, because they said it's coming to an end, but then some said cancellation. So do you actually know what kind of happened? Do you have any insight, or what do you think's happening?
This is what they would call a cancellation. That because the way to say that the show was ending would be if. So let's say what they did with so Nancy Drew, for example, hasn't premiered yet, but they've been filming season 4 since I think a couple months ago, and they announced that this was coming to an end. But even though they worded as ending, the lead actress tweeted that she found out on that day. So that is, it is the network likes to craft it as like it's coming to an end, but it's actually cancellation. With Stargirl, it is also the same thing where they didn't know because I know Amy Smart, who plays Courtney's mother on the show, she had done an interview where she said that they were going to find out at the end of September, I believe. So like this is a cancellation. Like this is just because the network, because I think the newer people at the CW who's running things right now with next or everything, I think the reason they are trying to say it's coming to an end and they're trying to avoid the cancellation word is because of all the other stuff that's been canceled this year. And so it is just they want to use one lingo, we use another, and it's definitely this is definitely a cancellation because it's it's actors who, like, I could tell based on their responses online, this wasn't something they were like fully informed of. They probably
Yeah.
thought, maybe we'll get another season. So yeah.
Yeah, because I remember back when Legends was still like, on that kind of bubble. I remember there was like rumors going around that like the crew were kind of like unsure and they were like prepping potentially. So I think same happened for a lot of these shows. And one trend I've noticed in the past year or so, especially since things at the CW have been up in the air, is that like shows and showrunners, especially Eric Wallace, has been talking about how they've basically had an ending if this was their final season, or had an ending that had a cliffhanger to continue because they just weren't sure about the future of their shows under kind of different regimes, I guess. So, yeah, were you shocked about Stargirl coming to an end? I personally wasn't too shocked, but at the same time, I was really hoping to see it continue. What do you think, Andy?
I wasn't shocked because I knew. I know for just a couple days before
Mhm.
it happened. It's it's like, I mean, again, it's hurtful because I think this is one of the best these TV shows we've ever had, just in terms of the way they tell these stories, the way they do things with the special effects, and the tied storylines they do. And when I say tied, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean just the whole idea of doing for an episode. That is what I really love about it,
Yeah.
and it just felt, it was so unashamedly comic booky, which I loved. They're not afraid to pull anything from the comics. So it's sad. It's really sad. It's a great cast, and these are some young actors I'm hoping will have great careers to come after this. But I was hoping maybe we would see, maybe Star will eventually come over to the Flash or whatever, because I know Breck wants to do it,
Hmm.
but it sucks. This is now the fourth TV show we have lost in just 1 year.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you remember, like going back, like I don't know, 3 years ago, you remember there was like all those like articles from these terrible sites that were like, all of the Arrowverse shows are going to be cancelled, and now they can be like, oh, we called it like all those years ago, but yeah, I really wasn't expecting this year to go down like this. But as soon as we heard about Next Star and their plans, it didn't come as a surprise for pretty much all of them, especially shows like I'm sorry, but Naomi, which wasn't performing that well. I was not
Mhm.
very surprised. I was more surprised about Batwoman, to be honest, because I thought they would give it a chance, considering Javicia is great, and I mean, this kind of plays into the kind of haters of the show, right? They're like, "Oh, yes, it's canceled because the network hates it, so we're right." I think that's very bad. Legends, I was like, we that was the one show, the Arrowverse show, where everyone for years was like, "Oh, if any Arrowverse show is going to end or be canceled, it's going to be Legends," because of the ratings weren't as high as like The Flash or anything like that. So not that shocked, but at least it got a long way, to 6 seasons, I believe. And with Stargirl, I was like, okay, now this is just taking it a step further. 4 shows in a year. I can't believe it. And now pretty much all we have is Superman and Lois, right? We have Gotham Knights coming, potentially Justice U. We have some extended Arrowverse shows. I don't know what you would call them, but Titans and Doom Patrol that are still going on. Also, it should be noted that I believe Stargirl's final appearance is going to be on Titans, right? With the crossover that is supposedly happening. So we'll wait and see. Do you know when Titans is coming out?
It premiered today.
Oh, it premiered today. I am so
Yeah,
out of the
it's
loop.
okay. It is all good. It's all good. Yeah, the first episodes are on HBO Max. I don't.
Mhm.
How do you in UK? What's the situation with HBO Max? Like, do you guys have it?
No, we don't have it still. Everything basically that is HBO Max related. If you want to watch it on TV, it pretty much comes out like 6 months later. Like Superman and Lois comes
Hmm.
out on BBC like a long time after. So we have very weird relations. Like Peacemaker came out on Sky, which is like a kind
Hmm.
of big like uh, package deal, I guess you can get in the UK, and that came out like a while after as well. So yeah, we're weird here, so just ignore the UK when it comes to American shows.
Warner Brothers, come on, you need to
Yeah.
get on that, fix that. Because I think it was just talking to my friend Michael from Canada, and because he's a big Titans fan, and I said, like, so when are you, like, hey, have you not watched it? Like, we don't even have it yet.
In Sweden, do they have HBO Go?
I don't know. You would have to ask someone in Sweden about that. I know in the Nordic,
or
I
anywhere.
know in the Scandinavia, I know they used to have HBO Nordic that has now become, I think that became HBO.
Yeah, the reason that I'm talking about this is because I know when I've been like in Hungary and stuff like that, they do have a version of HBO, but it seems specifically UK just does not have anything to do with HBO. It's just like a weird deal. But obviously in America where you are, you know, there is HBO, which is very, very much so easy.
Yeah, no, but you're right. In Scandinavia, they in October they changed HBO Nordic to HBO Max, but I don't know if they have everything yet, which is typical. Which is why piracy. It's always going to be a thing.
That's why piracy is a big thing for these shows. And I mean, when you look at it, like these shows have such a big international audience. I feel like they should really try and find a way around it, especially with someone like Nexstar who is desperate for views. Why not figure out a way to get, I don't know, different deals? Anyway, so with Stargirl actually being cancelled, what do you guys, and tell me in the chat right now, what do you guys think it means for the future of the Arrowverse? So let's talk about Superman and Lois specifically here, because that is the one show that post Stargirl ending in December, post the Flash ending whenever it ends next year, Superman and Lois is still going on, supposedly, right? And we don't know if it's going to be the final season or if they'll continue. But what do you guys think? And Andy, what do you think about Superman and Lois right now?
Well, I know that something I know that Canagraphs and so on had talked about that I've also noticed is that so when Superman and Lois when they launched, they signed a deal with Vancouver to build these sets for a production lease that is for 3 years. That deal ends next month, so they need to start deciding soon if they're gonna continue it or if because I don't know if they can buy just for 1 year or whatnot. But if we look at Legends and Batwoman as an example, because one of the reasons they got canceled, it's just one reason. I don't like how the public story that they were running with is just that it was just because of production leases. There's other factors too. I'm not gonna say them, but like presumably they need to decide fairly soon, I guess, if they want to renew that lease or if they're just gonna let it go.
Yeah, like I guess that is the factor in a lot of this, but I mean, money is a factor in it all. That's pretty much why Nexstar is doing all of this. But don't you think? I mean, I know what they're going to go for. The cheap programming. Buy stuff from other networks that's already aired, or
so
find
weird.
a way around it. It's weird, right? But you have to think. Are they just willing to throw away their entire audience that the CW has built up? Yes, I understand that the CW wasn't the most profitable, but with them taking over, this is a question for you because I have no idea if this is true. But in my mind, if they take away these shows that have been already running, now with Warner Brothers not having the majority stake, can they sell their new shows to places like Netflix again?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it's a new show, for example, like they can definitely look at, like, let's say they were doing like a Plastic Man show, for example, and they could now theoretically take it to HBO Max, to Netflix, to Apple TV, whatever, and so on. They could even, if they wanted to, they could pitch it to Fox, NBC, CBS. Well, maybe not CBS because we know how they treated Supergirl, and ABC is just never going to happen because that's Disney. But they can definitely. But yeah, I agree with you. It is what is so weird with CW and Nexstar is just that. Because CW had, listen, CW has never been like the biggest channel on the on the broadcast slate, but CW had an identity. It was Supernatural, it was the Vampire Diaries, it was the Arrowverse, it was Riverdale and stuff like that. But now it's like so much of it is already gone that like I'm kind of questioning why did they even buy CW to begin with, like
Yeah,
or like
why not buy another network or something, right? Why buy a failing in their mind network that is full of debt,
Yeah, and that's all they keep, like they keep talking about like how like they have these big goals for, and like we're gonna be profitable by 2025. I'm like, you can't just hope that that you can just survive for the next 3 years. Like that's not feasible. But yeah, I that's why I love just being a reporter and not being in corporate, because this would drive me insane.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, I have no idea when it comes to, debt, numbers, whatever. But that's a big a factor here, with them taking over, because they're just hammering on about it. And I mean, also in the past few days, there's been lots of reports that the CW, Nexstar has been laying off a lot of the old CW staff. Obviously, Mark Pedowitz has left. A lot of his top leadership has left. And so clearly, Nexstar is cleaning house, but also at the same time, maybe those CW people at the top just don't want to work for their new owners, because now their new owners are just trying to shift away from everything that Mark Pedowitz and his team built up. Like, it's been stressed, like especially when these cancellations happened and when Mark Pedowitz left, that when he came on, the CW was something else. And then he grew it. He grew, the entire Arrowverse pretty much came from him. Obviously, he joined after, I think he joined just after Arrow, or was it at the top?
No, Mark joined right after Smallville ended. So Dawn Ostrov was the first step network
Mhm.
president, and she is very problematic. So when she went out the door, people were basically celebrating. But he came in 2011, and he came in right as Smallville came to an end, and he was part of getting. He's the one who got Greg Berlanti over to the CW.
Yeah, exactly. And so he basically brought in Berlanti, and then Berlanti's productions created the Arrowverse pretty much. And that's where we are as of right now. But now the new owners are just completely throwing it away like it's nothing. So I'm really not surprised that everyone probably doesn't want to work for them anymore. So where does this leave the Arrowverse and DC TV in general? Well, I think the future of the Arrowverse could be still a thing if they create new shows and, like I said, sell them to Netflix and stuff like that. If they want to be profitable, remember that has been stressed in the past that that was one of the major things that why the CW was created, to sell to networks and stuff and have that content. Apparently, that's kind of what they were going for. So if they start to do it again, I would think they were stupid if they don't go back on their popular IP and continue but create new shows. But as of right now, it seems they are all about saving money and they don't care about their audience. So yeah, I mean, the CW is not looking good right now. It's going to become a network where people just on the couch in the day, they just randomly click on it. They're like, "Oh, cool, a game show or something," and and then they're just going to be like, "Yeah, no one's going to engage with it." And I honestly don't think it's going to do them better numbers, because people already have networks that they go to do that stuff, right? For years, the CW is not going to change its perception overnight, right?
Also, they don't have as many. I think the problem with CW as well is the fact that there's not as many, because there's all talk about CW stations, CW affiliates, and so on. They're like, it's not available everywhere in the States, for example. That's why I think the numbers are the way they are, and also, but I think also because appointment television is slowly dying. We're not, because now it's like we have DVRs. We can buy episodes on iTunes, or we can watch it on Hulu, depending on what contract they have, and so on. So I think for live television, it's struggling in general, because like I remember those years where like I mean, I didn't watch the show, but I think you've heard of Empire and how big that was for Fox. Like there's 2 seasons where like they constantly rose in ratings all the time. So it's yeah, I CW, I feel Nexstar, they don't have a strategy. I think like they want to do something way before, they want to do something completely different, and like I don't think genre properties is going to be something they're going to really focus on anymore. I think by the time we get to 2024, I think it will be, I think we're going to see stuff like procedural stuff, and you know, things that are kind of like that, you know, that, you know, because they, when they talked about the whole demographic of who's actually watching the CW, I'm like, okay, they're gonna drive towards them. So, and that interview that the new CW president did the other day, wow,
Yeah.
if I was his publicist, I would have told them, don't talk.
Stop.
Don't just stop talking. Like, this is not the time to do an interview, because he has nothing. He has nothing.
Yeah, and
So,
they're not showing any of these changes apart from canceling shows, getting rid of old shows, and that's never a good that's never a good thing, right? I feel like the public, when it's announced in the press that a show is canceled, that brings negative connotations to the network, right? And especially with a network like this, where they have big cult audiences, like people that adamantly follow the shows, how can it do any good? Like, honestly, I'm just very confused about their strategy. I really think, like you said, they think they have a strategy, but I think the strategy is stupid, in my opinion.
it's not just that. Also, it's the fact that, like, for example, like when you know, when you hear a show has been canceled, you know, especially when it's newer shows, if you hear something has been canceled, you're not going to think instantly, oh my god, I need to catch up and be there for the end. No, a lot of people they will drift off. That will, you know, I think that's why, for example, with Naomi, they didn't announce that cancellation until the day after the season finale, which was kind of shady to me. But like, that's because like they know, like, if we announce this 2 weeks before the finale airs, people are not going to watch it.
Yeah,
So
because they're gonna know there's nothing else to come after, right?
yeah, you don't want to you don't want to have that investment of that you're going to invest in something and then know, oh, I'm not going to get any I'm not going to get any conclusion. I'm not going to get any payoff to any of this. So it's frustrating. I'm glad with Stargirl. It sounds like, you know, and it is, you know, when I spoke to Brick in August, he, you know, because I knew this was something that a lot of people were going to be asking about, and she even said that she said always that the writers are protecting us, and they made sure that this season ends in a way where we're not going to just leave you all hanging too much and so on. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I said before, that kind of goes with the same thing. And I think Jeff Johns kind of hinted at this, like, you know, there were signs a while ago that potentially this could be the final season. So they obviously had an ending prepared, and he thinks that it's a good ending to end the show. He thinks it's the best season so far. So that is, I feel happy for Stargirl. At least they can end properly. But for shows like Legends or Batwoman, they had no idea, right? So, you know, the way that Legends specifically ended infuriated a lot of Legends fans, and I feel bad for those fans. And so that's why I think with Javicia returning, it's very good for Batwoman fans. We'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway, so for now, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Right now, we'll go ahead and read any if you do have any. And if you want to send in any super chats, please be sure to send them in now. We'll still answer questions about Stargirl, and undoubtedly we'll talk a bit about it as we continue onwards. Keita says the people who cancelled Stargirl probably have never seen the show. Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, they pretty much have an idea of the shows, and they have an idea of what they have, but they just think, oh, you know, it costs a lot of money. They look at the checkbooks and they're like, nah, it's not worth it.
They only watch numbers.
Yeah, it's all numbers for them. So yeah, let's continue. Let's go to the next question and kind of topic that we have. So James Gunn has just recently been announced to be the head of the new DC studios. So, you know, DC's equivalent to Marvel, or basically making it its own studio rather than just under Warner Brothers, which I think is cool personally as a DC fan, because Marvel has it. Why can't we have it? So what do you think about that first off, and then we'll talk about James Gunn.
I think this is the first step in the very right direction. This has been a rough year for DC fans. Like every week, I keep feeling like, what's gonna drop next? What's gonna happen next? But no, I think these studios is a perfect thing for them to do. Finally, I think it's gonna bring some more unity to their brand, and with James Gunn and also Peter Safran, who I think he has a great track record as a producer. I haven't always loved everything that James Gunn does. I love Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I did not like the second one. I definitely hated the Suicide Squad. I did enjoy Peacemaker. I think he can be a good creative force that will help DC go into an interesting direction along with Peter Safran. I love the fact that it's not just one person, that he actually split up the big role into two people. Because I know people can say we need to find our Kevin Feige, but like there's a reason why the concept of our own Kevin Feige even exists, because he's one of a kind. He can't really be replicated unless cloning has been created, and I've just missed that.
Then we'll take him.
Exactly. Oh, good God! That day that the cloning process happens, that Kevin better hide all of his DNA, because everyone's gonna create Kevin Feige for every.
You can't go out in public.
Nope, never. It's like done. Like he's gonna be like, nope. I'm just gonna, I'm quarantining myself from the world. But I think this is exciting. I think it's gonna be interesting what they do with this SD now, because they're now in charge of movies, TV shows, animation. I don't know where video games fall into that. That was something that was lacking from the announcement. But I think DC Studios is the first step for us DC fans, because I think because DC films, I think people need to also learn DC films and DC Studios are two completely different things. DC was a division of Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So, but it was almost like, I think I said it on Endless Multiverse, the show that I do every Friday, where it's more, DC Films was more of a footnote for Warner Brothers, but now DC Studios, it is its own thing. It can have its own kind of agency, for lack of a better term. So I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. And like you said, splitting up the head, the co-CEOs, I think it's a very good idea. James Gunn, I'm a big fan. Wasn't a fan of Guardians 2. I liked Guardians 1. He produced Brightburn. I thought it was a very good film. The Suicide Squad was great. And I loved Peacemaker. I thought Peacemaker was absolutely hilarious. So I'm a fan of him, and I actually got to interview him a while ago. So that was very cool. And also, I've talked to Peter Safran in real life. I've seen him a couple of times. I think at like DC premiere events here in London. I think it was Shazam, I want to say.
No, he did Shazam. So
yeah, it's definitely Shazam. I talked to him, but he's a cool guy, and I was very excited to see this announcement because, like you said, with them splitting it up, I think it's cool to have a director, a creative, and then a producer, kind of more like Kevin Feige, I guess. But also Kevin Feige has that kind of creative side because he kind of like maps out a lot of the MCU. So it's good that you have two people to kind of be one Kevin Feige, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think it's a really good step for the future of the DCEU, but also hopefully for the future of DC television and animation, because that's something they announced and they made sure to put it in there. So what do you think with James Gunn coming in and with the recent changes at Warner Brothers since Discovery took over and David Zaslav? Do you think James Gunn is going to be able to kind of, in a way, save HBO Max or do something good with DC content on HBO Max since, Discovery came in, they canceled Batgirl, they scrapped it. They're potentially going to be scrapping, they scrapped that Green Lantern show and they're going to redo it again. So do you think with James Gunn being in charge of DC Studios and Peter Safran, does it spell good for TV and films?
Yeah, I think it definitely spells out some more of a safety net for creators, like directors and writers and so on. Because the reason I like the fact that they actually tapped a filmmaker to do something like this is that if Batgirl had happened during the DC Studios era, it never would have gone like that, like this, where like we're gonna cancel and while after you finish filming it and are in post production. I also don't think they would have canceled it and told the director during his wedding, which is
terrible.
shame on you, David. But I think that it gives them more of a safety net and kind of like, okay, this vision is not working. Can we maybe? I think James Gunn will be more able to kind of find compromises
Yeah.
with now the whole Green Lantern thing. That was actually not so much affected by James. It was more so that after Walter Hamada left, because they're not focused on Jon Stewart instead, because they couldn't use Jon Stewart
Yeah.
anywhere because of Walter, but now they can, and now they're filming, they're, but it's also partially because of tax write-downs. But I think that having DC Studios leading these three departments now, which it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like every TV show and every movie and every animation stuff that they do is all going to always be connected. There's still going to be Elseworld stuff
Of
and
course.
the Titans universe, Doom Patrol universe, and all these things. But I think that like on HBO Max, whatever the crap they're going to call it next year, because they're merging Discovery and HBO Max into one. I do think that DC content will be a huge part of that, and I think having James Gunn as and Peter Safran as two leading forces will. One, I think it will add some more faith in these projects that people will like, okay, because Ben, you must have remembered this all these years ago, where like they kept announcing movie after movie after movie after movie, and it's just like, where's that Booster Gold movie that we all talking about? Where's that Green Lantern Corps movie we were talking about? Like they just keep announcing a project.
Justice League Dark, whatever,
that one still hurts because Del Toro doing Justice League Dark. I mean,
that would be insane. Yeah.
I may have, I'll tell you off air. But what I love with this is that now I feel more like when they announce something next time, I will feel a little more excited again because because if they announce something like maybe tomorrow, that I'm not saying something is getting announced tomorrow, so don't like if something happens tomorrow, it's a coincidence. I'm not hinting at anything. But let's say they announce something tomorrow, I will take more courage with that because I feel like okay, they know what they have in mind and they know what they want to do, and it will, because you also want to feel confident as a consumer, like because it's your it's our money in the end that goes to them, and if it's like I want to believe in these movies and so on, like so if hopefully this will be the start of something good. I think HBO Max, I think network television for DC is pretty much done soon. I think they're going to focus on theatrical and streaming.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I really hope, considering that James Gunn is involved now, that he's able to save DC content on HBO Max or whatever they're going to call it, especially since the CW is seemingly just willing to just throw everything that they built and throw it in the trash. So I hope there is some future for DCTV. Right now, again, with both things happening simultaneously, pretty much, it's just been like a really shitty time for us fans who have followed DCTV for a long time, and so I hope they keep creating shows like Peacemaker, but they also keep creating shows like Batwoman, like The Flash and stuff, but over on HBO Max. And I know that they also don't want to spend a ton of money, so they may go for more of a CW type show rather than the really expensive Green Lantern show that was supposed to originally happen. If you remember, like when Greg Berlanti originally announced it, he said it was going to be like $100 million budget show or something. Like it was going to be one of the biggest ones they've ever done. But that's obviously not the case anymore, because basically Warner Brothers Discovery is in the business of, not spending a ton of money anymore. Unlimited budgets aren't going to be a thing. So
yeah. I will add this though, because I think it's also important to remember that things, just because they're scaling back in terms of like the resources on these products, it doesn't mean that they're gonna look cheap or they're gonna look bad. Green Lantern is still gonna look phenomenal when we see it on HBO Max. Like that's the thing, because you also remember, because even though because I think I'm not defending David Zaslav. He and I we ain't buddies. We would never sit on the table and break bread. But I can understand when you do a big merger like this that there are going to be a lot of financial fallout. And yes, he is going to be villainized because he is the one in charge. He's having to make those tough calls. But by making all those cuts now, and if DC, for example, as one of their big IPs starts becoming really profitable again, they will. that will still allow great products to be put out there, because like it's not like they're just going to suddenly make everything look cheap and so on. So like, for example, like you were talking about, like, could the Arrowverse maybe live on HBO? Man, I think it could. I think very well it could. Like I've always been saying, I've been trying to bully Eric Wallace into doing this for forever now. But like I always, whenever I talk to him, like, you have these two great characters, Bart and Nora.
Yeah,
Like it's like and like listen, it feels like they've been slowly giving us an extended backdoor pilot for the last 2 years. I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
first they have a comic all about them, then they
Mhm.
have all these episodes, they have an interlude episode. I'm just like, Eric, do the damn spin-off. And like I think he's just like, I'm trying to finish the Flash. So, but I think, and
Mhm.
that show would be great on HBO Max. That way we can
Yeah,
continue the Arrowverse, but also like better production qualities. We could also maybe not film it in Canada, maybe, because I feel like, even though I've never been to Vancouver, these shows have made me feel like I've been to damn Vancouver.
yeah,
Like I remember these streets. There's points where I dream about walking on those streets. I'm like, I've never been there. How can I know? So, yeah, I think like, oh, and hopefully maybe James Gunn will look into the Arrowverse as like, but well, why don't we start off like the second phase of the Arrowverse, but on HBO Max or whatever it's been
yeah.
called, and focus on other characters. But I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I really do. I really do hope the Arrowverse does live on HBO Max if that's the way it has to go. But yeah, okay, let's move on to the next topic. That was a very interesting topic, as well as the Stargirl one. And as a reminder to you guys who are watching live in the live chat,
Sorry,
please
I
be
didn't.
sure.
Nathan's comment. I don't look.
uh,
I
that's all
look
right.
knackered. No, this is just. I'm a very ugly person, so it's just the way I look.
No,
It's just my
Andy,
face.
Andy, you're giving yourself a disservice. Don't worry. I have huge eye bags. Don't worry. I'm the same. I'm always yawning every freaking live stream. So
You haven't done it so far, so you're
it's a
badass.
bit earlier than normal, to be honest,
Yeah.
to be fair. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about the Flash. So obviously, again, we're talking about set photos here, and it's kind of like an iffy area. However, Red Death is coming. Red Death is coming. Lots of sites have posted about it. I feel okay about talking about it now. And so, yeah, what do you think? Like, we've been waiting for years for Red Death to come. Guys in the chat, tell us, what is your reaction to Red Death officially coming to the Flash? Are you excited? What type of storyline do you think they're going to do? We're going to discuss it with Andy in a minute. But just one more thing, send in super chats if you have any questions to do with this before the end of the live stream, so we can go ahead and answer them. So yeah, go ahead, start sending them in if you have any, or send them in the chat if that's the way you want to do it. No problem here. So Andy, what do you think about Red Death finally coming since that season 5 tease way back when?
I mean, I'm just so happy that Rachel Leslie gets to come back. She's one of the best things that has happened in the Arrowverse, and like you were saying before, it was a shock that Batman was the one to get canceled out of the shows that were on the bubble. But
Yeah,
it is what it is. But no, I think seeing Javisha on the flag will be fun. I think it's still weird that we only have so many episodes left, but it's
yeah.
whatever it is that they're doing, it's gonna be fun to see it come to fruition. And they're gonna pull from comics, they're probably gonna do something different too. And it's I'm hoping the season 9 gets to be everything all the Flash fans want it to be. I know that everyone will be, you can't please everyone,
Mhm.
but I know they're working at their asses off to make it the
Yeah.
best farewell season they can.
Did you hear anything about why they chose 13 episodes? Was it to save money or?
I mean, I'm trying to remember if I ever talked to anyone about it.
Mm,
Because I know Grant was signed on for 15,
okay.
and 30. 30. I think that likely is something with Next Star and Discovery. Maybe that they're like, well, we 2 episodes is maybe a little too much. 30
Mhm.
might be enough. But it's I was always hoping it would get to season 10.
Yeah,
And
me
I
too.
would love to get to 200 episodes. I know that was something Eric really, really wanted to make happen.
Mhm.
Like the fact, like it was So the last time I spoke to him, he was like, I'm looking forward to take a big break, Andy. I've been working really hard on season 9.
Mhm.
Then 10 minutes later, he's like, oh yeah, we had this deleted scene from the finale that was going to set up season 10. I'm like, Eric Wallace, I need a break. Also, Eric Wallace, I have plans for season 10.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty
but
typical.
yeah, and like also 200 episodes, that would have been a nice way to wrap the run.
Yeah,
up,
and I
but
feel like season 9 is just an odd number. Like, I just really wish it just went out round. Like, go season 8 or go season 10. Come on, guys, please. Just, do 2 shortened seasons. I don't know. That just does my head in. But so that's why I was happy like Supergirl went out on season 6 rather than like an odd number for my own sanity. But yeah, it would have been cool to see 200 episodes. And I mean, what do you think about this? So it was the Arrowverse's 10th anniversary in October.
I didn't notice.
You didn't know that?
No,
Yes, you did.
no, because
Of course you did.
everyone kept talking about, like, in every live chat I was ever on and
Yeah,
anything. Everyone talking like, what are they gonna do for 10 anniversary? I'm like, they're not gonna do anything.
I
They don't
know.
like
It's just, don't you think it's such a shame?
Yes.
Like, typically, if we were 3 years ago or whatever, we would have had a crossover, right? We would have had like a big
Oh,
event.
I think there would have been a crossover. I think there would have been a special, like, kind of when they talk about the Arrowverse as like a, like a 1 hour special, like celebrating, like some of their favorite moments and so on. I actually honestly thought that at the very least, even during these times with the COVID and everything, that maybe they would at least do, like, they could get together through Zoom or something and
Mm,
talk about the Arrowverse, but then they
nothing.
didn't. Yeah, so it's a if I was in charge of CW, I would have, like, this would have been something I would have started planning last year to have ready
Mm,
for this October. But instead, it was us fans we had to make this special by celebrating the Arrowverse on Twitter and social media and so
yeah.
on.
Yeah, we were the ones that were reminding everyone, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's the 10th anniversary. It's a big deal." And the CW seemingly forgot. Well, obviously they probably knew, but things were going on behind the scenes, and the shows, well, The Flash and Superman and Lois aren't coming out into the mid-season. Did you ever hear about why? I understand Superman and Lois. Did you hear why The Flash went to the mid-season? Was it because to air at the same time as Superman and Lois?
I think it's just I think that I don't know fully actually,
Mm,
but if my educated guess is because they canceled so many shows, they want
mm,
to spread out the program a little bit.
yeah.
I also think that this would also, I think, because I noticed that I think I'm not saying it's because of him, but it wouldn't shock me if one of the reasons was also because Grant was filming something towards the start of fall, because they started filming a lot later than they usually do. So I think it was terms of like just Daniel Panabaker was also maternity leave, and so I think maybe everyone just needed a little bit of break and so on. And I think it's I don't think it's a bad thing that they were saving it. They're saving the next season.
Oh,
I
no,
know,
me too.
I know. The term mid-season can scare a lot of people,
Mhm,
but I think if anything, it's probably, and also because when I asked Eric last time I spoke to him, I said, "Does this mean that we might have fewer hiatuses?" And that is his hope, that by
mhm.
coming back in 2023, we'll have fewer breaks. That way, we can kind of have maybe like a clean, you know, kind of just run of episodes. Because trust me, like Superman Lois this year, they completely effed up the whole schedule. Like it is so. I was like, this is destructive to Superman as a brand. Like you should be treating Superman as like the crown show, but
Yeah.
that's why CW is they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, like, and, when shows are in their final season, they never promote them, like Supergirl or, like, Black Lightning or whatever. Like, the CW in the past few years has been very, very weird when it comes to stuff like this, and obviously now it's changed, so we'll see how the future goes, considering we probably have no Arrowverse shows. But yeah, with The Flash, I don't know. The mid-season doesn't bother me, especially since it's the final season. Like, we didn't know that at first, so I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Oh well." You know, that's. I thought they just wanted to go with Superman and Lois because typically I think Superman and Lois takes a bit longer to film, and that's why they had a lot of the delays. Apparently, I don't really know. Um, but nevertheless, like considering the Flash only has 13 episodes in its final season, I think delaying it is not that bad, to be honest, because we
Mhm.
get to have it still at a late point. We can say the Flash is on next year. And that's kind of like okay in my mind as of right now.
And to give CW some, I mean now during the Pedowitz era, to give CW some credits is that we had Armageddon, then we had the 3-month break, and if you notice, but throughout the second half of the season, there was only 2 hiatuses with 1 week in between. So that was like because Flash was pretty much on every week otherwise. So, and I think that's why I don't think shows always need to have I know the pandemic kind of just messed up the schedule in general, but I think it was a good idea for Flash to go on that break after Armageddon and then come back, and that way we only had like these 2 mini hiatuses. So that way, I think that's what the ratings stayed as good as they did, especially because they had moved to Wednesdays. So so I hope that will be the case for season 9 as well. But you're completely right. They're not CW is not like marketing. I wish I could just pull out. So during Smallville's time, they did some of the worst posters. They did. I don't know what kind of Photoshop classes they went to, but it's like they would take like Tom Welling's head from season 8 and put it on the season 6 body. There was one point they took Eric Durant's head and they put it on Kristen Krug's body, who plays Lana. That's like. I will send you those photos later, but like it's so CW has never been good with marketing, to be honest. Like it's always like
they always use old photos. Like for years, they used the same photo shoot for Supergirl or the Flash and stuff, and you're like, oh, this is old. Like you realize it, right?
Yeah, and like I remember even like. You probably remember when that Warner Bros. Account tweeted out Superman the complete second season.
Yeah. Oh, that was
and again, I'm like, but you're using photos from the pilot. It's not even about season 2. And then they posted with Superman Lois the complete second season, but still with photos from the pilot. I'm like, y'all, I could do this in a minute
and get it right and get it good.
Yeah. Also using more hashtags too. That could help.
Definitely could help with marketing, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I mean that's the Flash. The Flash is coming back for season 9, which is going to be the final season. But with Red Death coming, it's exciting. But I think what's more exciting for me is, like we mentioned, Javisi are coming back, and considering that Batwoman got cancelled by the CW, I think. It's just really good for Batwoman fans that we'll get to see Javisi again. It's a little bit of I don't know if I should call it redemption, but it's just like kind of nice to see. And I think it'll be nice to see Stargirl after Stargirl ends on Titans, if that's, after. I don't know what specific episode she's showing up. But same kind of thing happened in the past, like Black Lightning returned after his show ended. Alex Danvers came back in Armageddon after Supergirl ended. It's happened before. So I think it's a good thing, honestly. I feel that gives me a little bit of hope, for the future, considering that some people care. And so it's good to see that Batwoman is coming back. So do you actually think this is like a multiversal version of Batwoman? And, this version
seems about right. It would be very weird if and I think this could be a way for our Ryan to, because I know, as far as I know, I don't know if Barry and Ryan have met post Armageddon. They may have.
Sure.
I know there was something in the Earth Prime comic, but I remember that could be a way for him to finally introduce that relationship. And also, I know for my fellow West Island fans, this could be for a way for Iris and Ryan to finally meet. But yeah, I definitely feel this is an alternate universe take of Ryan Wilder. I sent you something in the private chat if you want to react to it on there, because this is I kid you not, this is an actual CW banner they did.
Let me get it up.
I cannot wait.
Look at that.
This is Tom. That's Tom Welling. That's Tom Welling's season 6 body, but his either season 5 or 7 head. That's Erica Durance's head from season 5 or 6 on Kristen Krug's body.
That's not even her own body, and that's really obvious. Like her face shape compared to like the neck or whatever, like the body in general. Like it's just, oh, that's crazy.
I will give you one more. This is for what they did for season 10. This is what they did for the final season. Oh, this. Look.
Ah!
Does this look natural to y'all? That is Erica's season 4 head on her season 8 body.
Just the heads are like floating heads.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Erica. And Tom, look how small his freaking head is compared to his.
Yeah, like that's like, oh.
That is hilarious. That is
Let's
hilarious.
pray to the gods that they don't do this to Grant and Candace and Daniel Panamaker or whatever, because they will be like, I mean, I don't even remember the last time they did a photo shoot. All of them were like, you know, because every season during like the newest season, you know, the fresher shows, they will put out these like cast galleries. But like, I don't think Flash has done that since maybe season 2. So
no, yeah, it's been a long time, and even like individual photo shoots and new seasons, like I don't know, the CW is just not into it. It seems, I don't know, like
they're not into quality, I guess.
Yeah, like you would think for the Flash's final season, surely they get them in to do one measly photo shoot to promote the final season. But I bet you they're not going to do that.
If anything, Grant is probably doing some maybe new posters here and there, but like,
yeah,
we need more than what they've been giving us. You know, I liked Armageddon, the material there and so on. But like, what I remember they doing a lot during Armageddon, what leading up to it, was that they kept airing that one same trailer over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, yeah, I don't trust CW. I just don't trust CW whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I don't trust them either. So, I mean, yeah, not too optimistic, but let's just talk about a little bit too of Red Death, okay? Red Death, what do you guys think? Tell us in the chat. Do you think Red Death is going to be a graphic novel villain? Is it going to be like a cameo and it's going to be a tiny villain? Like I've heard that theory. I personally think they're going to be in, you know, maybe the first graphic novel for like 3 to 4 episodes or something. What do you think, Andy?
I think this season, I think we there's probably only 2 graphic novels. I don't think Eric is going to push for more than 2. I think if anything, we may have 2 graphic novels, 1 interlude, right in the middle. And yeah, that's what I mean. That's, you know, that's what I would hope they would do. Because you can still work in a lot of other things in 5-6 episodes per graphic novel. So I just like the fact that we have that format now, because like it was I mean, remember those days when like, and I can't even imagine how you had to do it as like as a YouTuber, like every season, like doing 22 episodes about the one same villain year out, year in. So it was crazy.
I mean, for me as a YouTuber and as someone that you know, covers the shows, to be honest, it was better for me as one villain, just because these you know, graphic novels I think they're pretty decent. I have to say I'm nostalgic for the older seasons like 1, 2, and 3, just because I kind of started my channel around then, and like it was always a big thing. You know, you would be like, who is Savitar? And you have that question from like episode, I don't know when Savitar first appeared. Do you remember what episode it was?
I think it was 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. So it was after Dr. Alchemy and after, you know, everything that happened with that. So for me, it was like, okay, so Savitar is the thing. Now, who's that person behind the mask? And that continued till the end of the season. So actually, that's good as a content creator, because you have a lot of theories. Like, people are theorizing nonstop. And to be honest, that was the best season for my channel. That's when my when my channel kind of took off, because of Savitar and because of that mystery. And I think with the graphic novel villains, it's a lot shorter, and so that kind of mystery doesn't prolong for very long. And then before you know it, we're kind of moving on to the next villain. So I'm not going to say like I'm the biggest fan of the graphic novels. However, I understand it from a storytelling standpoint. Maybe it's better for them so that they can make the stories more kind of concise rather than extending it over 20 episodes or something like that. But I have to say, over 13 episodes, I kind of would have liked like one villain overall, but that's just my opinion.
I could take that. I would if Flash season 1, 2, and 3 had been 13, 15 episodes,
Mhm.
with just one villain, I could have worked with that. That's actually
Mhm.
completely doable for me. But like
Yeah.
22, where it's like in between, throughout these 22 episodes, there will be like these like random episodes. Some people call fillers. Sometimes I call them
Yes.
standalone. But I no, but I agree with you. Like I think that both ways can work, but I just don't. I think 22 is just too many episodes at this point.
No, I understand that. And, a lot of people I remember used to get really mad at those standalone or filler episodes because they would randomly happen, right? There was no structure. So I understand Eric Wallace wanting to structure the season, right? Because that's what he's done with the graphic novels. You would have the first half villain, you would have some interlude episodes in between, then you go to the next one. It's a good structure, I would say. Um, Compared to the randomness of, oh, okay, episode one is going to be a filler episode 4 is a filler, 5, and then not until 13, and then 14, 15, 16. Like it was very random before. So
Hmm.
yeah, props to Eric Wallace for actually bringing some structure, but uh, I don't know, I kind of like that kind of more prolonged villain kind of mystery. That's just a personal thing for me.
I get it. I mean, again, they both work. They both work. I
Mm,
think it's just we don't need 22. I think 15 is like the maximum. I think that DC TV shows should go for.
yeah.
Because I can never agree with you with Disney Plus doing just like 6, 8 episodes. It's too few, and like sometimes they're only like
Yeah.
30 minutes long. It's just they
Yeah,
ain't
and
fun.
the Arrowverse shows aren't hour long,
Mm.
So, yeah, I agree. Like, I actually thought I really liked The Flash when it was 18 episodes. I thought it was pretty good. Like, it's a decent spot. But I understand people wanting it to be shorter, like Superman Lois or something. Um, yeah, I don't know. For me, I've always enjoyed the long seasons because I get to be excited every week, being like, "Oh, the Flash is on." And it's just a shame with all the cancellations and stuff that we're going to be like, Superman Lois is on, but nothing else is on. Okay. you know, so, but at least we have Superman Lois for now. Um, all right. So, Flashverse sends in another super chat. Thank you very much, Flashverse, for supporting the channel. And if you guys want to send in any final super chats, please be sure to send them in now as we reach the hour mark. So, anything else that we have to talk about? Well, yeah, I mean, do you
Has
have
there been
anything
anything
going
else?
on? Any Eric Wallace interviews coming up?
Not yet. I think there's a little early, but
Mm.
no, I'm expecting Eric to be back on the podcast for a couple times. I will not be asking about Goldface Flash first. I will not. But
Wait.
I just did a Titans interview just
Mhm.
before I came, like right before I finished my interview. You DM me, and I was like, sure, why not? That would be fun. So that will come out on Screen Rant soon. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean the DC business is kind of asleep right now.
Yeah.
What are you working on? What are you film flying around the world on your trips and your red carpets events and filming movies and stuff, being a legend that you are. What are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, just like everyone else, I guess. Right now, the CW and the Arrowverse hasn't been posting much, so it's a bit hard with videos. But as you guys know, if you make your own videos, like Flash first in the chat. Um, so yeah, I really have been doing a lot of thinking and stuff when I'm at home. Today I went crazy. I actually made 5 videos, so I've scheduled plenty for until Wednesday next week. So I never do that, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, yes, finally, you guys are gonna get a video every day throughout this next week. So yeah, very exciting. Also, we had the members live stream on Monday, this coming Monday, so that's cool as well. But in general, yeah, like the rest of you guys, just trying to work, and I do YouTube. It's like half of what I do, and then the other half is, you know, filmmaking, you know, being a camera operator or a cinematographer. That's kind of like my main job, I guess. So always on the lookout for new jobs around. So
So
yeah,
James
that's
Gunn, if
mainly.
you're looking for someone new to bring into the DC,
I will happily
you
shoot any of your films, James
yeah,
Gunn.
he wants Supergirl back. He will make that Supergirl movie for you.
Yeah, like I will go anywhere, James Gunn. Just hire me. I'll make your Supergirl film. We can make a Power Girl TV show. We can do anything you want, James Gunn. But yeah, no, pretty decent right now. Just had my birthday in the last couple of days, so that was cool.
Happy belated
Lots of
birthday.
horror watching. Thank you very much. Um, but yeah, no, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But yeah, so I think right now, you know, just kind of a little bit up in the air about all this DC stuff. But
I know that David Zaslav, I think there's a quarterings call apparently going on or something, and they've been talking about like that all the DC movies for next year are still on track for release. They want to do more Harry Potter movies.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But they'll probably take it in a new direction now, right? I think.
Who knows? I mean, she still owns the IP,
I
so
guess
I don't
so.
know what to do. But like, yeah, they're. Um, I think before the year is over, I think there will be some cool announcements made. Maybe some more bad ones too. But I think I think there's a lot of cleaning house they have to do before. I think it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent once said, and then he became Two-Face. He lived long enough to see himself become a
David
villain.
Zaslav is going to become Two-Face, is what you're saying, right?
I'm saying that he already is Two-Face. Like Misha Collins is like, but I thought I was gonna be Two-Face on Gotham Knights. No, it's David Zaslav.
Yeah.
Nathan, if Ben would ever want to work on something, I would show up at his house and be ready to go. I love this dude. I would love to working with him.
For sure. Well, how's things at Screen Rant right now? How's things with you? Because you've been doing a lot still.
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, I'm done with my shift for the week. I just published my Titans showrunner interview today. So if you've seen the first episode, because there's spoilers in the interview, you can go check it out. But yeah, it's flowing on. Just it's been fun. It's been fun. Yeah, just I love writing. I love bringing out content, and but you love making fans happy. There was a lot of there was a lot of Dick Corey fans in my mentions, and I love you, Dick Corey fans, Dick Corey Nations. I see you. So it always makes me happy to make fandoms happy in any way I can.
Yeah,
So
and you're a senior writer, right?
yeah.
For the TV and film section. So have you been doing the five articles a day, 5 days a week? Is that your shift?
It's a little. I mean, I have a certain quota I do, but like something. I mean, for example, yesterday I wrote. I mean, more than 5 zones. So yeah, as long as I hit my quota by the end of the week, it's all good. But yeah, but I'm missing your face, the Screen Rant.
Yeah,
Definitely do that.
yeah. I'm not there anymore, but I just found it very. It was very tiring for me, like doing 4 a day, 5 days a week. Like, it was cool, and I really enjoyed being part of the comic section and reading all the comics.
Really good work. He did really good work.
Yeah, and I really, the one thing I really liked was helping kind of promote when it was at the time when Nicole Maines was kind of doing more Neo comics, and I was like really pushing for more Supergirl content and Dreamer content. So I was very, very lucky to kind of, help promote that, I guess, in the comic world as well as the TV world on my channel. But yeah, so anyway, I think that pretty much does it. Flash Versus sends in one more live super chat. He says Goldface and Amy Whammy seen for season 9.
Who's Amy Whammy?
I'm pretty sure it's Aminette Black.
Wow, that's one hell of a.
I think that's Goldface's nickname for Aminette Black. Pretty sure.
But where does Whammy come in from? Like, it's like Aminate Black. Like, would it be
kind of
like?
rhymes or it goes with it. Amy whammy.
I would just call her Amy or something like, and not Amy. You know.
Amunet. I don't
I do
know.
like quit the. If we can maybe pull up Gabriel's question, I think that's a interesting one. Who do you want to go back to final season of the Flash? Who do you want to see in the final season?
So this is actually one of like the videos that I have planned. So I had a lot of theories, but obviously one of the main ones is, you know, Wally West, I would say, or Cisco, because they're big characters.
Yes.
I feel they're a bit more likely than some ideas. How do you feel about Oliver? Like, obviously that's a fan favorite, but how likely?
I have a feeling he will be back by the end somehow.
Really?
Assuming that he doesn't have schedule conflict, I think Oliver will somehow be there. You know, like likely in spirit. You know, because I think Oliver and Barry's relationship has always been one of my favorite ones in the Arrowverse. You know, I think when Grant and Steven act together, they really bring out the best of each other. So I hope, and I know Steven, like the last time I talked to him, he like literally went like, I will do anything just to work with Grant. So hopefully we will get to see that. Because Oliver, it was his show that started the Flash, so I think that would be nice. I think it's possible. I think I don't think in suddenly in the middle of the season. I think Cisco will be back with a series finale. I definitely think that. It's gonna be weird because he's cut all his hair now. So like,
Oh, really?
I need. Have you not seen?
No,
Like it's yeah, like reaction time again. But yeah, it's almost like, because I know like my big sister, she used to watch a show called Felicity when she grew up, and there was this whole big deal made when she cut off all her hair or whatever. And that's how I felt when I saw Carlos. I'm like, no, why would you do this, Cisco? Yeah, I think it's on this new show Gaslit or whatever.
Can't find it.
Yeah, let's see, Carlos Valdez Gaslit.
Oh, I see it. Oh, he looks cool though. Does look cool, but yeah.
Yeah, it's different Cisco. So I need that. Like if he comes, it's
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is completely different. Like he has a beard and everything.
Yeah.
I know he does sometimes in real life, but that's crazy. Wow, he looks like a completely different person, right?
That needs to be, if he comes back, there needs to be a scene where all Barry and everyone else is doing in the scene is just freaking out about the hair.
They're like,
they're like, we gotta stop this villain. Like, no. We're gonna talk about this right now.
Yeah, what happened to your hair, man?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just like a whole new look for him, because he's always had pretty much this long hair, right, for a long time. So
yeah, like since the pilot, and then it just got longer.
Big choice, because he's almost unrecognizable, like
very unrecognizable. It's like, I mean, like that could be me for all we know, just with a goatee. I can grow a goatee, so but yeah, I would love this to come back. Wally, of course. Jesse Quick, finally, let's wrap up that mystery. Of course, Jay Garrick. I bet the kids will be back. Like it would be.
I bet any money that Jay, Nora, and Bart will 100% be in, surely.
Yeah, my one of the things I always wanted to see on the Flash is like you've probably seen many of these pictures from the comics where the Flash family is running together.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I would love to see. And hopefully we see. As I don't know what's going on with Max Mercury, so hoping he's coming in this season. But yeah, I want because what I always loved about Smallville's final season was that they really went for it in terms of bringing back fan favorites. We had Aquaman come back, we had Lionel Luthor, we had John Schneider, Jonathan Kent, and Lex Luthor, of course, and all these fan favorites. And I think it's great. I think it's great that to honor what has come before. So hopefully there's some cool news soon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching the live stream. Thank you, Andy, for coming on. We'll have you back on again very, very soon. So
come on anytime you want me to.
Of course I do.
I will harass you. I will just harass you in the chat and just say, hey, I want to come on. I want to talk about something. Hey, let me come on.
Yeah. Anyway, so for now, check out Andy on Twitter. I'll leave his links in the description to Flash Podcast and his Twitter and stuff. So
Follow this guy. Subscribe to everything he does. Support all his projects because he does wonderful work.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys. And leave a like if you're watching now or if you're watching afterwards. It's greatly appreciated. And also subscribe and become a member if you want to join in on Monday on the channel on a live stream just like this with your fellow members when you join. So yeah, click the join button. But for now, we'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.